this is last week's power rankings here. We both had BYU number 1. You had K-State 2, then Colorado, and then Iowa State. I had BYU, Iowa State, K-State, Utah, and then Arizona. I don't know why I had Utah ahead of Arizona, considering Arizona won. But we're going to do our new Big 12 rankings right meow. So let me share a screen here, and we're going to get started here. I don't know if you wrote yours down. I'm going right off the cuff, man. I'm going right off.
I didn't write it down. I didn't have time to think about it.
Yep. All right. So easy for us to see who the last team is. It's KU on the current standings. According to ESPN, I'm going with that. KU's 1-5. They haven't beaten a single team in this conference. They can't win close games. They've only beaten an FCS team. They're the only team in the Big 12 that has only beaten an FCS team. They have to be 16th, man.
Yes, I 100% agree. They you can't be 1-5 and
Nope.
get any higher than that. So sorry, KU. Not sorry. Sorry, but not sorry.
I think we both had the same for number 15 as well. I'm going TCU.
Same. Just put it down. It's the same reason. I mean, they have just shown that they lost to UCF, which UCF has just taken back-to-back losses again, and they barely beat TCU. TCU has only beaten KU in the conference games. So that, to me, gives you an automatic 15. You're not worse than KU, but my God, TCU, you are a wreck.
Right. Okay, I feel like 11 through 14 is pretty interchangeable.
Yeah.
Even though Oklahoma State is 0-3, I'm not putting them 14.
Yes.
I'm gonna go Houston here.
Yes.
Even though they just had a really good game, I cannot put them any higher. I mean, it's 1 week. They went 2 games without scoring. So I'm going
put Houston at 14 for me. You beat TCU, which we have found out that Houston. Yes, Houston, you beat TCU, but TCU is literally a fire-covered dumpster right now. It is a dumpster fire. TCU and KU. I mean, congratulations. You're not 16th anymore. You moved up to 14. I mean, good on you guys. And that's great. And if you guys are continuously getting better throughout the year, you might actually end up you might become bowl eligible. I mean, you might. I mean, that game against KU later, you might win that game. If they play UCF, you might win that game. Like, you know, these wins might actually come about, and they might actually pull off some good wins here. So Houston,
I agree.
Your ceiling is 6 wins. Try to get that. That is your goal for this season. I want to see it because I actually believe in Willie Fritz as a coach. We saw what he did in his programs, his 2 programs prior to Houston. He is a coach that really turns programs around, and I just have a lot of faith in him. And I want to see having Houston do better in the Big 12 is better for the Big 12. So we want Houston to be good.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a huge. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Houston. I have. You have. Okay. It's a 6-lane highway all around the city. It's huge. I feel like it'd be great for the Big 12 if their basketball team and football team were both good. So
yes.
Okay. Moving on to 13.
Baylor.
You're on Baylor, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm going to UCF. And here's why. Their defense is god awful. And if they can't score points on offense, they are just not good, man. I mean, they only scored 13 at Florida. If they can't run the ball, they're not good. Their defense is terrible. They barely beat TCU, and we have TCU ranked 15th. I got to put them 13, dude.
Yeah. A part of me still believes that if Baylor and UCF went head to head, I think Baylor would just find a way to lose. Because I feel like Baylor plays to their opponent's level and just slightly worse. They're like, oh, we're going to go against Colorado. well, we're going to play right to their level, and then we're going to find a way to lose the game. And then they're like, okay, now BYU's coming into our home. We're going to find a way to just lose that game. We're going to find a way to lose every single game that we play. So I just feel like Baylor is just coming apart at the seams, and UCF is just, for whatever reason, I don't know why they're just throwing these games away, but in the non-con games, they were playing out of their minds. So I don't know what has happened. Maybe it had something to do with the hurricane. I don't know. Something's going on with UCF,
I
and
mean,
it doesn't
Florida
make
had to deal with it
sense.
too. Florida had to deal with it too. I mean,
Yeah, something's going on with UCF, and it doesn't make sense. I don't know
it
what
does
it
not.
is, but something seriously is going on with the players. Like, you guys shouldn't be losing like this.
No,
So
I agree.
UCF is my number 12. So I have it.
Okay, that's a good segue. I am not going to go there. I got to put an 0-3 team at 12. I just do. I mean, I held out for a little bit here. I moved Oklahoma State up a couple spots. I feel like they're going to finish higher than 12th for sure. They brought back too many pieces to finish 12th in the Big 12. They got a great running back, good offensive line, but their quarterback makes some questionable decisions. Their defense is trash. I got to put an 0-3 team at number 12, man.
Okay, Steve, I need to understand the logic here, because Baylor is 0-3. They're also 2-4 in their season, but like, you're going to put Baylor above Oklahoma. Oklahoma's got at least 3 wins in the non-con.
I'm gonna tell you here. So Baylor's gonna go here, and the reason
and OSU is at my 11.
So the reason why I'm putting Baylor there is they put up a crazy good fight against BYU. I mean, shoot, they lost by 6 points at home. That's a lot better than K-State did at BYU. And like I said earlier, I feel like Baylor could be a decent team if they can figure out a way to win close games and put together a full game. Honestly, they should have beaten Colorado, right? They could have beaten BYU. They played with Iowa State for a half. So I feel like Baylor is getting closer to being a good football team. Even though I'm worried about their head coach, because
but that's the thing. That the reason why I put them so low is because I feel like they're finding ways to want to lose games. Like, it's like they don't want to win. They don't want to win games. They just want to lose. So anyway, I agree with what you said before we even got from 14 to 11. You can interchange a lot of these teams, but that's what I put for mine and what you put for yours. So moving on to number 10, I kind of agree with putting Cincinnati there.
I do too. I was thinking the same thing. Same thing.
I think it's a solid place to put them. I don't think they're the 10th worst team in the Big 12, but they're better than the previous, what is that? 6, 5?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Previous 6.
And I don't think they're better than any of the teams above them.
Exactly. That's the main point.
And they blew a 3-touchdown lead at home to Pittsburgh. They did almost win at Texas Tech. I feel like Texas Tech is on fraud alert right now. They're playing better than we thought. They are 3-0, but we'll see where I rank them, man. I'm not going to rank them number 1. I promise you that. So what do you got for number 9?
BYU. Just kidding, Steve. I'm just kidding.
Crazy.
I had to troll the BYU fans that were watching. For give them a small little jolt of, like, they were about to fire away on the comments section.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: the bottom 6 are pretty interchangeable. You could maybe say the same thing about the top 10 teams. I feel like any of those teams could be anyone. So we'll see here. What do you got for number 9?
I'm gonna put Arizona State. You guys beat KU, okay, and I appreciate that, but it's KU. Like, KU, and you lost to Texas Tech. Those are your two wins, or your 2 games in the Big 12. So I'll put you in the middle. Like, what's funny is Arizona State being smack dab in the middle, but slightly, in the bottom middle, it's like, well, you beat KU, the worst team, and you lost to what the current standings are saying is the best team. So that's a pretty solid place to be, right in the middle. I need more from Arizona to move you guys up. Arizona State, I need more from you.
I agree with everything you said. I mean, they barely beat KU.
You're struggling. You struggled against them.
I mean, you guys barely beat Texas State. You guys do have a winning record. Is it weird to say that I feel like KU may have actually won that game if it was at Arrowhead instead of at Arizona State?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know. KU can't win a close game, so maybe. I don't know. But
they have literally thrown every close game, every single one.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Like you said earlier, hit that subscribe button. Make sure it works. We're trying to go up in subs and try to get monetized here pretty soon. So hit that subscribe button and make sure it works for you. So number 8, what do you got?
I got Arizona. They lost at home. Yeah, like you guys beat Utah, and that's good. But you just lost to Texas Tech at home. Your Big 12 home opener. What are you guys doing? You can't do that. You can't do that. So
Arizona 8.
Even though the K-State game was a non-con game, you've lost to 2 Big 12 teams already.
Yep.
Even though it was a non-con, but you still lost to K-State. You beat Utah.
Now there are really 2 good teams. There are 2 good teams that they lost to. They probably could have and should have beaten Texas Tech without that fumble from their top 10 pick wide receiver. But they lost. They lost the game, and that's why I have them number 8 instead of, had they won that game, I'd probably put them in the top 4. So,
yeah.
I think their quarterback had 2 or 3 interceptions. So that's not good. That's not good, man.
No, the quarterback is struggling in that game.
Yep. What do you got for number 7?
Number 7's tough because I want to give it to West Virginia, but they're 2-0. But who did they play? They played KU and they played Oklahoma State. So their 2-0 doesn't look amazing. But then on the other hand, Utah, I was thinking maybe putting them at number 7. But, it's tough because I don't know. Who did Utah?
You're gonna love my number 7. You're gonna love my number 7.
Who did Utah play? Who did they win? Who did they beat in the Big 12? I forgot already.
Oklahoma State.
Oh yeah, Oklahoma State.
They barely beat Oklahoma State.
That's right. They barely beat Oklahoma State, and then they lost to
Arizona.
I think, I think you got to put Utah in there.
Even though you got to put. Okay, so then you need to flip flop 7 and 8 then, because Arizona won at Utah.
Oh, that's right.
Is that what you want to do? I can change it.
I guess so. I guess you have to. I guess you have to do that. Makes sense. No, I mean it makes sense. Colorado.
Can you guys see that? I need something happen.
I understand the logic though, Steve. I get it. I get the logic here.
Something's going on here. I'm trying to resize this. What's going on? There we go. Okay, so here's why I'm putting Colorado number 7. Okay,
man, you made this like really small for people.
I know. I'm trying to fix it. That's better. Okay, so I'm putting Colorado 7. Yeah, don't leave your hand on the pen pad because then it messes everything up. Okay, I'm putting Colorado 7.
I love it because
they needed a Hail Mary to beat Baylor, which we both have ranked in the bottom 5. Okay. They did beat UCF, which is also a bottom 5 team. They got rolled at Nebraska. I mean, they could have lost to North Dakota State. I'm not buying a hype, man. We're going to find out this weekend. I know all these Colorado fans are about to be in the comments letting us know how stupid I am. I got Colorado 7, man. I do.
But Steve, I get your logic though. I understand what you're saying. The Colorado wins don't look as good every time a Baylor loses and UCF loses in an embarrassing way. It makes the Colorado wins not look as impressive. UFC beat TCU. Oh, congratulations. They're the second worst team in the Big 12. So that win over UCF, not impressive since they lost to Florida, who is also not an impressive team either. Oh, yeah, they beat Baylor, but in a Hail Mary, and Baylor is bottom 4, bottom 5 team in the Big 12. The wins that Colorado's putting out are not impressive. Now, I will say that what Colorado is doing in their games is what Baylor is not doing in their games. So, like, Baylor is finding a way to lose every single game that they're in, and Colorado is finding ways to win every single game that they're in, and just barely, or not just barely, but they're finding a way to win against the odds. So, hats off to Colorado, but I want to say I get your logic, Steve. I get your logic. I just can't put a 2-0
I can't put
team.
I can't put them any higher. I'm not buying a hype, man. I'm not.
Now I want to. I mean, it's all gonna crumble after next weekend.
Yep.
In my opinion, how I see it's gonna happen.
Next weekend's a make or break weekend. I'm excited.
October 12th is gonna be the best weekend for college football, not just in the Big 12, but across the board. You're gonna have a lot of amazing games.
I mean, a couple games just right off the top of my head. You got Ohio State and Oregon. You got Texas, Oklahoma. You got K-State, Colorado. There's some really, really, really good games this next weekend, dude. So
I mean, I'm looking at these comments. It's like, wow, now UCF is a bottom 5 team.
They are.
Look at what they've done.
They should be 2-3, man. They should be. We talked about that earlier. They should be.
They haven't done anything. Oh man, you guys almost lost to TCU, and TCU is a horrible team right now. And you lost to Colorado in your Big 12 opener.
This is a great comment. Colorado fans are not high. Prime fans are. There's a difference. Coach Prime fans are just louder. And those are the annoying ones. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and we'll get into all that next week when we start breaking down Colorado and all that stuff. But that is a great point. We're going to break down
K-State and Colorado on Tuesday. So make sure you guys subscribe and all that. Okay, number 6.
No. Listen to this, Steve. Like the keep moving the goalposts. UCF went from number 1 rushing attack. Y'all will learn. Hey, it doesn't matter how good you're rushing off. Well, first of all, explain to me how Colorado, which is not known for their rush, outrushed you per yard, per carry. They had more yards per carry than UCF did in their game, which is embarrassing because Colorado is a passing team, not a running team. And they had more rushes, more yards per carry. Yes, UCF had more total yards, but that doesn't matter. You guys are going to run more often, but it's just one of them things that's I agreed with you. I agreed with UCF being, I thought UCF was going to beat Colorado. I called the game. I was like, UCF is going to out-offense Colorado. UCF is a dominant offensive team. I had predicted that before the season even started because I bought the hype that everybody was throwing out there about UCF being such a huge offensive team. And I understand RJ Harvey is a beast. Okay. He is amongst one of the better running backs in the Big 12, but they just haven't shown it yet. I want to see it happen, but for whatever reason, you can go back earlier in the video that we just talked about UCF. For whatever reason, UCF has not been pulling out the dubs. They're crumbling. Don't know what the problem is, but they need to get it together. Yep. What they've shown so far is not impressive, and that's why they're where they are, the Big 12 standings. Do I think they're going to finish there? Probably not. I think they might actually end up getting a bowl game out of this, but what they're doing right now is not impressive, and they need to get it together. Okay, moving on.
Someone's going to take a victory lap next weekend. I hope it's K-State fans. I really do.
Yeah,
okay, moving on. Number 6, what do you got?
I want to put West Virginia.
I'm going to go Utah. I'm going to go Utah because right now, without Cam Rising, that's where they're at. They're right there, not in the top 2 or 3. They're right in the middle of the pack. They could be better with him, even though he's like 30 years old and he's missed, a bunch of time. I don't know how many games he's missed at Utah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So they barely beat Oklahoma State. They lost at home to Arizona. I cannot put them higher than number 6, man.
I think Utah. I think you're right about Utah losing, not having their veteran quarterback is going to be a problem for them moving forward. But the thing about Utah that I was worried about was their defense being so hyped. Just like UCF, their offense was overhyped. Maybe not overhyped, but I mean it's showing to be overhyped now. But Utah's defense was extremely hyped. So I don't know what's going on here. Like if you're a Utah fan and you kept telling everybody how your defense was elite, you just lost to Arizona last week, in a pretty big way. And I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they're doing a lot. But I mean, that's why they're a little bit lower on the list for me. They didn't have the game this week. They had a bye week. So it's once all the bye weeks are done, we can really start getting into the meat of things. But
Absolutely.
West Virginia, they beat KU. Great.
I'm going to put West Virginia number 5.
They beat Oklahoma State. Good. Like you beat these teams.
So they beat 2 out of the bottom 5 teams as well. Now, K-State has also beaten one of the bottom 5 teams. But it's a huge matchup next weekend, man. It's a huge matchup. K-State did also beat Arizona too. That's a top half team. Let's not forget about that. And they beat them down, dude. They beat them down. Yeah, I got West Virginia number 5. That was a great win for them at Oklahoma State, winning by 24 points. They did come back at home to beat KU. KU cannot win a close game.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to put them in the top 5, dude. I do. Who you got for number 5?
I'm going to put Colorado. Partly because my number 4 is going to be K-State. Because first of all, I'm a K-State fan. I believe that we're stronger, but all the reasons why you said Colorado, their wins are looking less and less impressive as TCU keeps losing, as Baylor keeps losing. These wins, the wins over those teams are not looking as impressive. And so I will say, I think K-State is current. They both had bye weeks. So we didn't get to see what Colorado is made of this week because they took the week off. So I'm going to say Colorado number 5, K-State number 4.
I do not agree with where you're putting K-State.
Understandable.
Do not get crazy mad about this, Red Raider fans. Even though you guys are 3-0, number 1 in the Big 12 right now, I'm not buying the sauce, man. You guys are on fraud alert. That was a big win at Arizona. Had to come down to a fumble late in the game. Fafita played terrible. I mean, you and I talked about this last night. It was like Arizona, that team, only thought about Utah for 3 weeks. There was a bye week in there. They beat Utah. And then this last week, everyone was telling them how good they were after they beat Utah. They were kind of overlooking Texas Tech because, let's be honest, Texas Tech has not looked amazing or like world beaters at all. And it came down to a fumble late in the game, man. They're still a top 5 team. I don't think they're going to contend for a Big 12 championship. They never have, outside of maybe 1 year. They still have never played for a Big 12 championship. Right now, I got them number 4.
I have Texas Tech at number 3 mainly because K-State was number 3 last week for me, but they didn't play. So just based on Texas Tech's record, they're number 3 for me.
K-State on the road. K-State's won at Tulane earlier this year, but yes, they do need to win a conference game on the road. I agree.
Yeah, no, we totally agree with that take right there. And that's the thing is that Texas Tech, and this will be a great game to win on the road. But again, we'll talk all about it on Tuesday. But Texas Tech winning on the road at Arizona State, or sorry, Arizona, that was impressive.
It was.
We needed to see that because, again, like you said, Texas Tech has kind of been sus over this year. I mean, they've had some really weird games that they've pulled wins out of, but nonetheless, they've been able to win games. So you got to give credit. They're 3-0 in the Big 12. All they need to do is squeak out 3 more games and they're bowl eligible. So they're looking really good right now. They're looking really good. Taj Brooks is arguably top 2, in my opinion, as the best running backs in the Big 12.
He's number 2 behind DJ Giddens.
Yeah, DJ Giddens is insanely talented.
He was number 4 going into last weekend in terms of rushing yards. Yeah. Obviously, K-State did not play, so he's not going to be in the top 5 anymore, but he was averaging 151 rushing yards per game. He is an amazing running back. K-State's offensive line is doing pretty good. I feel like they've turned a corner since losing at BYU, which, again, kind of felt like some fluky turnovers. But, that's neither here or there. Let's move on here to the top 2 because I got a new number 1, and I don't know if you're going to agree with it. Who do you got number 2?
Iowa State. Which, oh, no, Mike. All right, Steve. All right, we could talk about this. Let's
break this down. Why
Steve, I just
2 and BYU 3. Let me hear it.
Hold on. I have
a good reason why I have Iowa State number 1. I have a great reason why.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to point out that our 1 and 2 are interchangeable and our 3 and 4 are interchangeable.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. BYU number 1 for me is because they beat K-State. They beat K-State.
They do have the best win out of all those teams. I do agree with that.
That, to me, speaks extremely loud. Okay? And it's the way they beat K-State. Like, they were able to basically capitalize on everything that K-State was doing wrong. Iowa State has looked dull in their games over Houston was their first one. And what was it? God dang it. The other game. Cincinnati, was it? Who did they just play? God dang it.
Arkansas State, and they beat Baylor. And
Baylor. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out the other conference game.
Won by 4. They won 43-20.
Right. But
they won by more points than BYU did. That's why I have them number 1. So if you're looking off of the same teams they both played Baylor. Now, obviously, BYU played on the road. Iowa State played at home. Baylor did, score 14 points right off the bat against Iowa State.
Yes.
Iowa State got things rolling, man. They won by 3 scores. They both played the same team, and Iowa State won by a lot more. They won by a lot more against Baylor. So that's why I have them number 1. They both played the same team, and they beat them by more. Now, it was a home game versus an away game, all of that. Yes, I do agree. BYU has the best win of those 2. We'll see what happens going forward, but that's why I have Iowa State number 1.
Right. So both teams played Baylor, but then Iowa State played Houston, BYU played K-State.
I do agree with this. Road versus home is a huge difference. I do agree.
Even in terms of like points allowed and points given, or points taken or whatever earned, like that to me is like BYU's wins are a little bit more impressive. Iowa State, for whatever reason, I don't know why it was only 3 points for 3 quarters against Houston. That's kind of weird to me. It takes them a while to get points on the board.
They still won. They still won 20-0 by 3 scores.
Whereas BYU, they go out and get 21 points in the first quarter.
And I'm hoping Iowa State starts slow next year when K-State plays them in Dublin, Ireland. You and I were talking about that. We're like, man, I actually feel pretty good about this game because K-State usually starts off hot and Iowa State does not. So that could be a pretty good game next year. But that's
well, I mean, and we've already said this 1,000 times that the year 2025 is the year of K-State for sure. I mean,
it
it'll
is.
be Avery Johnson's that'll be the year of Avery Johnson.
I mean,
Everybody's gonna know
imagine if
his
DJ
name.
Giddens comes back.
Oh my
Imagine if he
God, dude.
comes back, dude.
He'd be a Heisman candidate.
Yes, SMU is looking good. That is a great win for BYU. I agree. They have 3 pretty good wins. I do agree.
I would just say in terms of strength, now, of course, they had a bye week, but I still think that they looked more impressive in the weeks that they were playing rather than Iowa State. I think Iowa State's good, dude. I don't think
I agree.
I have them number 2. Okay. Like Iowa State
it's
is still
let's be honest.
Yeah, it is a good, yeah, exactly. But I would just give the edge currently right now to BYU. Now, a lot of BYU fans keep saying the other shoe is about to drop to everybody in the entire country. They're like, just wait. BYU is eventually going to start losing these games, but they haven't shown it yet. And their wins are looking impressive. So we'll have to see what happens going forward. Again, a lot of this has, this is only the 5th week, 6th week?
Week 6.
Week
There's
6.
only been 6 weeks.
There's only been 6 weeks, and there's only been like 3 weeks of conference play. And everybody's getting their bye weeks in and all this other stuff. And so it's kind of throwing everything off. Once everybody's done with their bye weeks and we're getting full 8 games every single week, then we can really hunker down and really see what every team is made of and really start to understand this power rankings. But I agree. I like the list here. I think the current standings, I think they're wrong, but I mean, in terms of power rankings, I think you and I are pretty close on a lot of it.
I mean, the current standings are, of course, according to ESPN, which takes into account not just their record and conference record, but it also takes into account a bunch of other stuff as well. I think the FPI is a lot of it. But I mean, if the season ended right now, we'd have the same teams in the Big 12 championship game. So I mean, it's apples to oranges at this point. So I do think, I said it earlier, I do think it's going to be K-State versus BYU in the Big 12 championship game. I think you said the same thing.
I said I would love to see that. I think that would be such a fun. It would be kind of like one of those like Big 12 staple teams that have been here since the beginning, welcoming a new team, like coming together.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it would be like, and it's both. It
would sell out, by the way. It would totally sell out.
Both fan bases respect each other. And it's just like, it would just be such a wholesome game, but also like a competitive game because K-State's going to want a rematch. And BYU is going to just love to be in the Big 12 championship game.
Oh yeah.
And want to prove that they deserve to be in this conference and leave a mark on this conference. I think it would be the most amazing story written.
Yeah, and I would say it's definitely going to have something to say about it. Their win at Iowa is still better than BYU's home win versus KSU, in my opinion. Yeah, except for Iowa got the break speed off of them yesterday by Ohio State. So, yeah, I mean, that felt like I watched that game. That honestly felt more like Iowa losing that game than Iowa State winning it. But like I said, I still got Iowa State number 1 right now. Eye test and everything they've done, I had to put them number 1. So K-State will face Utah in the title game. We will see. Could be BYU or Utah, one of the 2 teams from the Utah State. So
it depends on their quarterback situation, but I agree that if it could potentially be a Utah team. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it's BYU over Utah, only because
K-State will play them soon.
Yeah, I think what the reason for K-State playing Utah is because we haven't played them yet, and so that'd be cool to play them in the Big 12 championship game. That'd be like, okay, here's a really cool game to have. But I would say BYU would just be a more, I don't know, a respectable opponent. Since we already played them, it'd be cool to have a rematch.
A rematch would be really cool for K-State fans. Yeah, it'd be really cool
for the storyline.
Yes.
It'd be great.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. But that's our Big 12 power rankings post week 6 here in the Big 12, man.
Yeah.